for the folks that signed up that couldn't make it. We do these free events. You're welcome to attend any of them. On October 7th, we're doing what we call Ditch the Pitch. And that is, how do you talk about what you do in a more compelling way? How do you introduce yourself so that people want to meet with you? And then on October 15th is our largest event. There's usually 50 to 100 people on that one. That's called Gather and Grow, and you'll get great ideas from that. It's really fun. It's powerful. So you can join any of these events. There's no catch. We simply want to introduce you to the amazing people and the amazing work that we do in SHIFCO. And if you want to join it as a member, you can, but you're welcome to attend any of our free events. What SHIFCO does in a nutshell is we train conscious entrepreneurs. A conscious entrepreneur is somebody who has purposeful work, so it matters, and they're trying to do business in a different way. We train them how to grow their business and maximize their impact. 88.9% of our members double their revenue. Some people are starting at zero, but a lot of them are at $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month. And over 98% of our members stay with us every single month. So we're really good at doing this. And it's what we love, and you're free to join us for the free parts of it, or if you're ready at any point, you can join and become a member and get direct training and coaching. So that's us in a nutshell. We believe when you double a conscious business, you triple its impact. So we are here to grow these people that are doing purposeful, profitable work. My background as the founder of this, I've built and sold lots of companies, and including one of them that was an internet company that we did an IPO on the NASDAQ stock exchange. So I've been doing this entrepreneurial stuff for a long time. I'm older than I look. And in 2009, I sold my last business and started over with this crazy idea that there has to be a way to do good and make money, to do purpose and profit. And I now have a portfolio of those companies, and we're kind of like a purposeful Shark Tank. So it's called Share on Purpose. It's kind of like a purposeful Shark Tank. We have a speculator fund that invests in conscious businesses. An example of that is Your Izzy. It's the first zero waste makeup and skincare line. So that's one of our investments. We also have a portfolio of our own companies that we created. So SHIFCO is just one of those companies. So I'm blessed. I have the best job in the world. I do nothing but grow businesses that make the world better. I love my job. I love my job. I invest in businesses. I grow businesses. I train, coach, and I have this amazing group of people that I get to work with. So that's a little bit about us. Let's jump into this topic. When I first had my purposeful awakening, it was 2008. I had a very successful consulting business with about 40 consultants that worked for me, lots of clients, but I felt like my soul was dying. It's the only way to describe it. I felt like I was growing things, but it didn't matter. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And I started over, and I just said, look, there's got to be a way that I can use my skills, but focus on both growth and profit and meaning and purpose. So I don't know about you, but if this session appealed to you, you're probably looking for the same balance. Now, some of you, when you introduce yourself, are just starting and you've got an idea for a nonprofit. Some of you already are doing work, but you're trying to make it more meaningful. Some of you are already doing meaningful work, but you want to make it more profitable. Okay, we are here to talk about both. And the ironic thing for me is I had a very successful track record taking companies public, growing companies, selling them on the left side. But when I decided to start the Share on Purpose portfolio on the right side, where I was doing things that were meaningful and purposeful, they didn't grow the way that I was used to. And what I learned is the way that a purposeful business grows is very different than the way a conscious business grows. So one of my team members is here, and she's going to help me with this, but I'd like you to put in the chat. Lisa, did you make it on? Are you there, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'd like for you guys to put in the chat, do you feel like you want more meaning and purpose, or you feel like you want more profit and growth? Just so I can kind of know where people's heads are. And then Lisa, as they put it in the chat, tell me what's coming in. What are you looking for?
Profit, purpose and growth, profit and growth, profit, profit and growth, meaning and purpose, meaning and purpose, meaning and purpose.
Okay, so this is typical, very typical. And the reason why I like to point this out is there's a part of us that has been taught that there is an or between this, that I can do one or the other. And that was the first big thing that I had to change in my mind, is that there's an and there. So before we get into how to go from the or, I can have one or the other, to the and, I want you to put in there, what have you already tried? What worked? What didn't work? Put that in the chat and let's explore that. And then we're going to talk about how to turn this into an and, purpose and profit.
Nothing yet.
So what have you tried to make this both purpose and profit work? Anything coming in yet?
Nope.
All right, so that means we haven't tried enough things, but that's okay. I'm going to give you the recipe for it. So this idea of purpose and profit, my biggest insight was that it's not about what you want, but what you're willing to do to create it. Now, the first hardest lesson I had to learn is I had to face every single fear about my self-worth, about being good enough, about reaching out to people. And so this idea of being willing to face your fear is a big part of this. You have to be willing to face your fear, because the world has taught us we can have one or the other, purpose or profit. And when we start down the path of growing a business, most of what we do doesn't work. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I'm like, why is it not working? But that's just the way it is, that there's a lot of things that don't work. And then when we go down this path of wanting it to be meaningful, we get into this head game where we feel like, oh, I shouldn't, I should price it low, or, I shouldn't reach out to people. And we have all these stories that we're telling ourselves. So I want you to challenge those as we go through this lesson. I call it meaningful money. That's what I want you to make, is meaningful money. And so in 2008, I started on this journey of meaningful money. And I thought, okay, at the time, I was like, I can either be financially successful or I could do meaningful work. And I really believe, because society has taught me, this was an or. And here are some of the stories that we've heard. Build a successful business and then start a nonprofit. Build a for-profit business that makes a difference, just like a nonprofit. That's an example. Another thing that we've been taught is, oh, well, you can't make money doing what you love. Yes, you can. So we have to start examining this or and begin to change that story. Why did I fail for the first year? So again, 2008, I start this purposeful Shark Tank, and I was financially successful. So guess what I did is I invested the money, but I did so in a way that failed. And I want you to learn from my lessons so you don't repeat them. And the reason why I failed is because I thought there was an or there. I can do one or the other. But what I learned is I have to approach it from the and. So what does that mean? What that means is what you're doing for a business should matter. It should matter to the people that you serve. It should matter to you. You should enjoy it. If you don't, we got to retool that. And I'm going to talk about that. Secondly, it should also make money. And if it doesn't make money, you're really barking up the wrong tree. It's very difficult to make a nonprofit work today. You've got to approach it so that it both makes money and is meaningful. And that's going to be the recipe that I'm going to give you. Lisa, is there any questions or anything that have come in that I can answer before I talk about how do you do meaningful work and make money?
No questions. A few things came in after you started, but I think that you'll get to these, but no questions.
Okay. So there's 5 things that I want you to know about this journey. Remember, this is the journey about the and. Meaningful money is doing something that matters, that makes a difference, but also making money. The first thing is it's still a business. It just matters more. So what do I mean by that? A lot of times I see people, they start, particularly if they're kind of woo or they're doing, life coaching or something along, or spiritual coaching or something along the lines. They don't want to think about it like a business. And I struggled with that as well. Again, I had a business background. I've taken a company public, but when I kind of had my purposeful awakening, I threw all that away. And I was like, oh, I'm doing this purposeful thing. I don't need that anymore. Yes, you do. It's still a business. The container of it is still a business. And I'm going to go deep into all 5 of these here. So first of all, it's still a business. It must generate a profit. If you are trying to build a nonprofit in these times, you're going to have the most difficult time ever. I'm 60 years old. I've never seen a more difficult time to build a nonprofit than today. So shift your thinking. For those of you that talked about doing a nonprofit, think differently. There are business structures, public benefit corporation, LC3s, where they're for profit, but they matter and they make a difference. So think about it in terms of it must generate a profit. Secondly, is it still needs to grow. Don't assume, and this was the big assumption I made, is, oh, build this wonderful, purposeful thing and everybody will come to me because I'm making a difference. No, you still have to grow the business. It's still a business at the end of the day, which means you're going to have to learn strategies to grow the business. Okay. And we do tons of training on that in ShiftCo. You're welcome to join us anytime for those, but you've got to understand, how does it make a profit and what are my strategies to grow the business? An example of what I mean by a strategy to grow the business is people need to be aware that the business exists. So you've got to do things so that people are aware that it exists. You still have to master all the business stuff, even though you're doing something that's purposeful. Second thing is, because it matters to us doesn't mean it matters. So what I mean by that is, I started this purposeful business in 2009 after selling my business in 2008. And I set it up and I'm out there talking about my purpose and the difference that I want to make in the world. And it was crickets. Nobody came. Nobody was interested because I was talking about me and what mattered to me. You've got to learn how to talk about your business in terms of how it helps the people that you want to serve. And we call that speaking about the value. So we want to use our business as a force for good. We're driven to make the world better. We want to solve these important problems. None of that, though, matters to who is buying from you. You've got to learn to talk about the problems you solve and the difference that you're making, not why it matters. Here's the recipe for how to do that. One is value. The value that you provide is a combination of the benefits that you offer divided by the cost. So how do you figure that out? One, who and where is your target market? So my target market are purposeful entrepreneurs. They want to make a difference, but they also want to make money. I know where to network with them. I know where to find them on Eventbrite. Several of you found us on Eventbrite. And secondly, I know the problem. So when you're speaking about the benefits, you can't speak about yourself. What you have to do is you have to speak about the problem that you solve. So what I speak about is, hey, are you struggling with growing a business that makes a difference and make money? Almost every entrepreneur who joins ShiftCo or attends these events, that's their problem. So I don't speak about my purpose. I don't speak about myself. I speak about that problem of balancing purpose and profit. Secondly, is you want to think about the benefits that you offer. So the benefits in ShiftCo is you're going to grow your business. Secondly, you're going to grow your mindset and work through your issues. And third is you're going to be part of this amazing community. Those are benefits. So when you're speaking about your business, A, you have to know where they are because you have to go to them. Secondly, you have to know what their core pain point is, their problem, and you've got to use those words. And third, you have to speak in terms of the benefits that you offer. So that's imperative. We call this a high value equation. We try to help every single member create a high value equation where the benefits exceed the cost. All right, that's the key, is making that work. So that's number two. Is just because it's purposeful to you does not mean you should be talking about that. You have to talk about what your buyer cares about. Third thing is there's not a silver bullet or an easy fix. There's not in any structure. So what do I mean by that? It's going to take effort. The days of applying for a grant and getting it and it funds your startup idea, guys, those are gone. Forget the politics behind it. Forget the craziness behind it. Those days are gone. They're not coming back anytime soon. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves. It's going to take effort. There are things you're going to have to do. There are things you're going to have to figure it out. Here's some of the things you want to figure out. First of all is purpose. Why are you doing this? And why does it matter? For me, it's really simple. My why is I want to prove to the world that conscious businesses is a better way to grow a business. I am driven by that. I wake up thinking about it. I go to sleep about it. Why are you doing it? Now, that why is not something you tell your target market, because it's not about that. It's really about them, but they need to feel the energy behind it. When people work with me, they can tell I give a flip about growing their business. They know I'm thinking about them. They know I care about them, because purpose is a verb. It's the action that you're taking. So it's not passive. And so this idea of getting out there and making it happen, purpose is not just this thing, you sit on the rock and you go, yay, I'm doing this wonderful thing. People come to me. It's not that. It's a verb. You're in action. You're moving the business forward. And I really feel like we're born to fulfill this. Purpose is something we can't not do, but it also increases our resiliency and dedication. Those failures that I talked about, what got me up was the fact that I knew that the work that I did mattered and that the people that I was serving cared and that they needed me to crack the code. So what it did is it got me past that thinking there was a magic pill. There's not a magic pill. There's just a lot of skinned elbows and roughed up knees and a lot of dirt and rolling up the sleeves. It's going to take time. There's not a magic bullet. It's not a quick fix. So some of the things you have to figure out. I don't know if you've seen this graphic before, but this is not something that we created, but these are the things you're going to have to figure out. One is you got to love it. You have to love it. One of the businesses that I started very early, I didn't love, and I got rid of it. Secondly, the world has to need it. It can't just be a nice to have. Third, you have to be paid for it. That's the real test. When I start a purposeful business, I put it out there and I don't give it away. I see if somebody will pay me for it first. Because if you won't be paid for it, it's not a business. And then last but not least, it needs to be something that you're really good at. So this combination of things that you have to figure out, you have to figure these out. And that part takes time. It is not a quick fix. There's not a magic pill. There's not a silver bullet. Every one of these little circles is evolutionary. It's iterative. You're going to be adjusting. I'll give you an example. Maybe you start the business and you think you love it, but you don't. You're going to have to fix that. Maybe you start the business and you think the world needs it, but it's crickets. Nobody responds. You're going to have to figure that out. Maybe you start the business and it's priced too low and you're not making any money. We're going to have to figure that out. Maybe you start the business and you love it, but you're not great at it. We're going to have to figure that out. So all four of these are things you have to figure out. It's not a quick fix. Okay, so that's number 3. There's no silver bullet. There's no easy fix, no magic pill. You're going to have to figure those 4 things out. Number 4, you have to be focused. There's no around this. You have to be focused. You have to be disciplined. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So focus is the key to mastering the game of business. And I do treat business like a game. I just happen to love the purposeful part of it. You're going to have to really focus and double down on the focus. So what do I mean by that? We use this model in Shift Code that I want to give you that shows you how it works. And there's two things that you have to build. One is focus and habits, where you're taking action. And secondly is you have to be willing. If you're not willing and you're not focused, you're going to end up in this bottom bucket. And maybe that's where you are right now. You're stagnant or stuck. What that means is you're not taking focused action and you're not willing to do that mental game of mastering this bucking bronco of entrepreneurship. You got to crack both of those. If you're really willing, but you're not taking focused action, that means you're in FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. If you stay in FUD, you're not going to make money and you're going to go out of business. So you can see I have to be both willing, my heart's got to be in it, but I have to take action. You got to get busy. But if you're busy, you're not willing to really do this kind of mastery thinking, then you're just going to be bouncing around. And I see a lot of purposeful entrepreneurs that are just bouncing around. Boop, 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 boop. You have to dial that in. And what we call this upper box is when you get super motivated, super clear, and you move into the mastery quadrant. In the mastery quadrant, you're taking focused action every single day to grow your business, and you're willing to master the things you need to master. And there's three things you absolutely have to master. One is fit. The business has to fit you. Second is demand. You have to learn how to grow the business. There's no way around that. There's not a magic pill for that. You can't just put up a website and people come. You're going to have to learn how to do that. And third is you have to know how to talk about your business. That's called differentiation. You have to master those three things, or you're never going to build a business that it makes you financially free. Okay, so that's what we call mastery. You got to do that stuff. Three things that you need to focus on. Number one is know what to focus on. You're having a demand generation issue. You don't have enough clients. If so, focus there. Do you not know how to talk about your business? Focus there. So there should be one thing at a time that you're focused on. If you try to focus on too many things, it's not going to work. The biggest thing I tell people to start with is demand. You need to learn how to generate demand for your business so you have people that want to buy from you. The second thing is you have to develop focus skills. We are not naturally born to focus the way an entrepreneur needs to focus. That's something you're going to have to learn. It's a skill that you're going to have to build. I had to learn it. My corporate career did not transfer to entrepreneurship. You're going to have to learn how to focus in a very different way. And then the last thing is you've got to have a degree of accountability. It's one of the reasons why we do ShiftCo in a community, because there's coaches and mentors that hold you accountable. You need accountability in order to stay focused. The other part of focus is, I call this the athlete's advantage. What the athlete's advantage is most of the time we're in motion, we're just doing stuff. But the athlete's advantage is athletes are 3 times more successful as entrepreneurs than non-athletes. Athletes know how to make moves. An athlete moves from one place to another. They don't want to waste energy. Most entrepreneurs are in motion. They're just doing stuff. But you got to train yourself how to focus so you're making moves. You're moving the ball down the field. If you're not making moves, the business is not going to grow. So you have to kind of do a gut check. Are you in motion? Are you just doing stuff? Or are you making moves? Here's what that looks like, this athlete's advantage. Moves are effort, intention. I'm reaching out and I'm doing this so that there's a reason behind it. I'm not just out there just bouncing around, attending things. There's specific effort that I'm putting in. Moves are measurable. I count my moves. I make 3 good moves every single day, 3 good moves every single day. And I count them. There was move number 1, there was move number 2, there was move number 3. I count them. And so you have like this daily do list. I have this daily do list of the moves that I'm going to make, and I do them with intention, deliberately. And I dedicate every day, I have an hour to making moves to grow awareness for my business. And when you're doing this, you want to be saying things like, will this action move me to my goal? Will the step that I'm taking move me to where I want to go? Okay, number 5. I think, the hardest one for me to learn. The business grows as we evolve. I had to change. I had to grow. I had to face my fears. I had to face my limitations. And so what happens is this idea that your business grows as you evolve, that was hard. So we get to look at our stuff and we got to own it. We get to look at our beliefs about our abilities. I didn't think I was good at reading profit and loss statements. I had to challenge that. I didn't think I was good at marketing and selling. I had to challenge that. We also have to look at our beliefs about business. Do I think business is hard? Do I think it should be easy? Do I think it's magical? Whatever our beliefs are, we got to look at it. Third is we have to look at our beliefs about self-worth. Do we think we are worthy of this business? And last but not least, for conscious entrepreneurs, purposeful entrepreneurs, we also have to look at our beliefs about money. There was part of me that believed that business was about greed and selfishness. And I really struggled with that my first couple of years as a purposeful founder. Is I had to challenge that. No, money, profit is the tip your customers give you when you serve them well. So you've got to challenge your beliefs in order to evolve. Okay, so wrapping up, and then I'm going to take questions. You can attend any of these events for free. In Ditch the Pitch, we're going to show you how to talk about your business from the value that you provide. What are the benefits that you provide? We're going to teach you how to do that on that event. If you like this event, but you don't know how to talk about your business in a way that talks about the value, come join us on October 7th. On October 15th, that's where you're going to get, we call it Gather and Grow. That's where you're going to get ideas for how to grow your business from the marketing and sales side of it. And you'll walk away with dozens of ideas. You can attend any of these events for free. And we'd love to have you. I'm going to pause the recording and take any questions that you have. Who has